Just very briefly, my name is Tim Lord. I look after the Middle East and Africa for Nikko AM. We're a large financial institution based out of Tokyo with over 250 billion assets under management for our clients worldwide. We have a long-term expertise and interest in investing in, obviously, all things Asian, Japan and China. But we also have the great joy of representing some strongly performing, and if Cathie doesn't mind me saying, shiny examples of global investment. We first came across ARK Invest and Cathie Wood's unique and differentiated approach to research and investment in 2016. And since then, we have the great pleasure of having a strategic partnership with her, where we look after distribution for ARK outside of the US.
So what started this? My father was an engineer and was an expert in radar systems, which when he was coming of age, that was the big new technology, the next big thing. And so we traveled extensively as my father was going around helping different, mostly Air Force bases with radar systems. And he made sure that as soon as Fortran came about, that I would start programming with that, which of course I hated. It was just like punching cards. But I would say that it started very early on. I think the real impetus for my focus on innovation in the investment world was when I joined Jennison Associates. I was focused on economics, but really wanted to get into the research world. And Sig Sigalis, the chief investment officer there, this was in the early 80s, he gave me that opportunity, but I had to find my own universe because the analysts at Jennison were lifers and they were not going to give up their stocks. And so what that gave me a great opportunity to do is when a stock fell through the cracks, and that's an important phrase, when a stock fell through the cracks, meaning database publishing with Reuters and Telerate, it wasn't a database company, it wasn't a publishing company, so those analysts did not want that stock. And I said, I'll take that. And what was that? That was the precursor of the internet. And so I naturally, same thing with cellular technology in the 80s. Not much interest in it, especially not internationally. And so I raised my hand there as well. And of course, we know what has happened in the wireless industry. So this idea of falling through cracks was the earliest manifestation of what we're seeing now turbocharged, and that's the convergence between and among technologies that is creating one S-curve feeding another, and an explosion in innovation. So the 5 platforms, I can give you a very good example of convergence there. Autonomous taxi networks. That combines is the convergence of 3 platforms: robotics, autonomous vehicles, energy storage. They will be electric. That's going to be the most cost-effective form of transportation, and artificial intelligence. These autonomous vehicles will be powered by artificial intelligence. We think this will be a $7 trillion revenue opportunity in 10 years, wow, which is bigger than the energy industry is today, even after this latest price increase. So huge amount of potential in that space, which is valued at almost nothing right now. The aha moments that come out, especially of our brainstorming session every Friday. So we spend 2 hours brainstorming with all of our analysts and what we call theme developers who are who come in and join that discussion. They have areas of expertise, but usually they're from colleges or venture capital teams, or they're entrepreneurs who are trying to push the frontiers of knowledge forward as fast as possible. So the real aha moments can occur there when we're all all together. And just to give you an
Please.
example, it has been very interesting in the genomic space, which is another area of massive convergence. We think, we have the 5 platforms, but there are 14 technologies involved in those 5 platforms, all of which are moving into exponential growth trajectories. So it's been fascinating to watch our analysts in the genomic space, an expert in DNA sequencing, for example, interact with our artificial intelligence analysts, who's expert in neural networks, which are patterned after the brain. So to watch them interact really does surface some very interesting and exciting aha moments. One of them, and it's been really exciting this week, is around gene editing, CRISPR-Cas9, a huge good news today. We've already had good news evolving that this technology might actually cure diseases, which, you know, the most seasoned healthcare analysts in the industry have not really focused on this because the market caps were so low, it didn't seem worthy of their consideration. But we took the opposite tack from the time we started the firm in 2014 and really became very involved with these companies and learned more about the technology. We were saying, wait a minute, you mean you think this could cure disease? Because effectively what's happening here is we're able, thanks to artificial intelligence and DNA sequencing, we're able now to find the needle in the haystack, which is a mutation in our genome. Our genomes have 6 billion bits of code in there. And it was impossible before the convergence of DNA sequencing and artificial intelligence networks to isolate those mutations. Without DNA sequencing, which is the foundational technology, CRISPR gene editing would not be possible. We needed to find the mutations first so that we could reprogram the genome, which is what CRISPR does, and really reprogram, correct the error that has evolved in the genome, so that disease, which mutations are the earliest manifestation of disease, that disease will not progress.